Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at how to write an email. Specifically we're going to look at how to understand how to construct a response for the writing assessment. If you haven't done so already, please can you like and subscribe, it really does help us out when you do so. So by the end of this lesson then, you'll be able to recall how to construct an email, understand how to use tone and language appropriately, and apply your understanding to write a response to an exam question. Look at the exam question and attempt the challenges that follow. You received the following leaflet from your local council. Bringing people in our community together. We've received funding from the National Lottery to support local events. We're looking for ideas for local events which would help to bring the community together. So anything that will get people out of their houses, talking to each other and enjoying themselves together. Send us ideas about what you think might work. Ideas could include food, music, dance, competitions, stalls, anything at all can be considered. Give us good reasons for your suggestions to help us to decide. To contribute, send an email to ashrav@livelylocal@email.com. So the reason why we're looking at this one today is because it is an email, as stated previously, but also you've got quite a big scenario to actually unpack as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. Before we do that though, let's look at the rest of the question. So specifically it's asking us to write an email responding to the council's request. Your email should be approximately 150 to 200 words. Now before we go any further, it's important to note that this question is specifically aimed at AQA, so it's good to actually know what the requirements will be for your specific exam board. If you are studying with someone like Pearson, Edexcel or City and Guilds, you might have a very similar question. However, it will be more likely that it's going to be 200 to 250 words that they want for their word count. So as you write this, remember to plan your answer, use the correct spelling, punctuation and grammar, and also to write clearly and effectively. It's important to note that the writing assessment is often the hardest one that you go through, but we're not after 100% perfection. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, so it doesn't need to be GCSE or even A level. We just want to make sure that you're hitting those main bullet points in your writing. Use the following challenges to help break down the question. So we've got our question again that we just went through, and the things I'd like you to think about are as follows. So firstly then, for the challenge, I'd like to identify the TAP of the exam question. Now if you're not too sure what we mean by this, we mean the topic, the audience and the purpose. This is really going to help you to break down the question and to really understand what you need to focus on in the exam. For the super challenge, I want you to try and think about what kind of presentational or organisational features would you need for this kind of question. Think about the actual form of writing you've been asked to produce and think how would you actually lay out that kind of response. And the final one, the mega challenge, what kind of tone would you use for this question? Consider how best to get your ideas across. Class feedback. Check your understanding against the correct answers. So for the challenge then, the topic was ideas for the local events. The audience was the local council, and it's actually given us the name of the person that we need to address this to. And then the purpose, to put forward your own ideas on events that will be beneficial. Now this is where there'll be an element of creativity. You're going to have to come up with these ideas for the events yourselves. Super challenge. So in terms of actually laying out your email, you need to have things like a subject line. The subject line is a few words explaining the purpose of your email. You'll have a salutation. A salutation is very simply the greeting. So it's the first line of your email and it's usually saying hello or hi, depending on if it is formal or informal in terms of the tone. You'd also have an introduction, the main body, which we normally say would be about 3 paragraphs, and then a conclusion. And then finally, you can have a signature or a sign off at the end as well. So okay, for the mega challenge now then. Your tone should be advisory and be passionate. Remember, you are trying to sell your ideas. If you're not too sure what we mean by that, we're going to talk a little bit more about tone next. So what is tone, and how can it be applied to the question? So specifically then, tone typically refers to the mood implied by an author's word choice and the way that the text can make a reader feel. The tone an author uses as a piece of writing can invoke any number of emotions and perspectives, so it's really important that when you are putting your writing together, you're thinking very carefully about your word choice and also the techniques you're using and the punctuation, because that's going to affect how the information is actually received by the reader. In terms of how it can be applied to this question then, the question asks you to send good reasons as to why your event will bring people together. You must show passion and enthusiasm about your ideas and have a positive and motivated tone to impact the audience. And essentially, if you think about, we're trying to sell our ideas to this person at the council, not really sell them, but we're trying to get them actually motivated and interested in what we're saying. You've got to have that passion in your writing as well. So before we move on then, it's important to try and stretch and challenge yourself and think what language techniques or word choices could be used to express this kind of tone. Look at the response and attempt the challenges that follow. Good morning. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to get involved in creating local events. With Christmas just around the corner, we should take this opportunity to use the season of goodwill to bring together this community and unite in Christmas spirit. The best way to bring everyone together is a simple one: create a Christmas street party. So as you can see there, the idea or the event that we're talking about putting on is a street party, specifically one based around Christmas. So what I'd like to think about before we move on is what kind of tone has the writer used in this example. Then the super challenge: identify one positive thing the writer states about Christmas. And finally the mega challenge: look at the 3-sentence starters on the next slide and try and think which one would work best as the next paragraph to this writing. Now, this last one's really important because let's say you think this is a really good idea to talk about for your event. You can always go back, go over this part, and then start using it as your own starting point for your own writing in terms of this response. So here are our sentence starters then. We've got 3 different ones. We've got to think about which ones would be the most effective one to carry on our writing. So firstly then, we have, did you know that 90% of people who see Christmas lights feel happier? Just imagine the whole street lit up like shining stars in the bright sky. Number 2, what's the one thing that brings a community together? The simple answer is food. On a cold winter's night, there is nothing better than enjoying a bit of comfort food, fun and laughter. This is surely a recipe for bringing people together and building a strong community. And finally, who doesn't love the German market? We could take out the stress, the travel and the expense and do all our own food and gift stalls. What could be better than that? We could come together, all of us, as a community, and even put some of the profits towards a deserving charity. So I'd like to think about the 3 examples there, and as we went through each of them, I'd like to think about which of the examples do you think is the best one, which one speaks to you as a really good idea to start your own writing, and then pick one of the examples to begin writing your own response. If you also think about our previous videos, especially the one about the language techniques, you can see here that we're starting to use some of our DeForest techniques and also some of the higher level techniques as well, and actually embed them in our writing, which is an absolutely important method that you should be applying to your writing by now. Use your ideas on the previous slide to attempt the challenges below. So what I'd like to do, if you're going to actually try and respond to the exam question, I'd like to use the sentence starters to write your own response to the exam question. If you can stretch yourself, go for the super challenge, so use a range of language techniques and word choice to convey the appropriate tone to the audience. And the final one, the mega challenge, use the punctuation pyramid that we went through in one of our previous videos to include a range of punctuation in your writing. And if you are struggling to start, we've got additional topics that you can go through on the next slide as well. So as we said before, if you're struggling to come up with any ideas, you don't really fancy writing about the Christmas event, think about these other ideas to help you. So ideas may include, but not limited to, creating a street party, a family fun run, putting on a fete, a local baking competition, a music festival, a sporting event, a dance competition, or a food event. Now obviously these are just some generic ideas that I've came up with. If you want to take your time, please feel free to pause the video, go back and look over the question in more detail and really try and think about the best ideas you can use to actually map out the rest of your response. It's also really important that when you are doing any writing, you're getting it reviewed or marked by a teacher, and if you do need any help, please consider joining our membership and we can help you along your writing journey as well. In terms of our next lesson then, we're going to go over the following things. So we're going to look at how to edit and draft your writing, we're going to revise the key techniques, and then finally, we're going to evaluate a response against the teacher's feedback. If you need any additional support or help, then new videos will be added every single week. Alternatively, you can leave us a comment below or visit our partner channel, Bookworm Teaching, for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Thanks ever so much for listening, guys, and all the best for your work and revision in the future. Bye bye.